The history of the Alabama Crimson Tide cannot be matched by many teams, and a legacy like the coach Nick Saban has is hard to compare yourself to, because ultimately, Alabama has been the greatest college football team over the last 15 years. And over the last 15 years, Nick Saban has won 6 national championships at Alabama. But the last couple of years, it seemed maybe Alabama had a downfall and Nick Saban's time was up. But Nick Saban responded with the famous quote that you guys may know, and he said, "Not so fast, my friend, because we are in the year 2023. And Nick Saban and Alabama have gotten their revenge by beating the #1 team in the country in the SEC Championship. And the last time they played Georgia was in the 2021 SEC Championship, in which Alabama lost. And ever since then, we haven't seen Alabama in the playoffs or even in a conference championship. And this year, it was looking like this team wouldn't even win 10 games after starting the season losing by double digits to Texas at home, then barely beating mediocre South Florida 17-3. But ever since Jaylen Milo maintained the starting quarterback spot, they've been on the rise, finishing 11-1, and now making the playoffs in a very controversial decision to put them in. But whether you like it or not, Alabama is back in the playoffs, and I really do think they have a shot to win it all. But I could honestly see any of the 4 teams winning it all. But in this video, I wanted to talk about why I think Alabama can win the national championship in 2023, and I will give 7 reasons why I think they can ultimately win it. But before I get into this video, let me remind you to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also turn on notifications so you never miss an upload, because we post daily college football videos. And I will be posting all my bowl predictions starting Monday. I will have 5 separate videos, so tune in for more videos on the channel. But without further ado, let's get into the video. The first reason I believe Alabama can win it all is pretty simple, and it's because of Nick Saban. Do I even have to explain myself? He's had 6 national championships, and he has carried Alabama to being possibly the best college football program, and I don't know how he does it. But the dude has some sort of magic. When you hear the name Nick Saban, all the players will follow, and that's why Alabama always gets the best recruiting. And a matchup with Michigan isn't going to be easy, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. When Nick Saban is backed into a corner, he is dangerous. And when he's an underdog, he just doesn't lose. He is 8-2 against #1 teams in the country, and beating Michigan will put him at 9-2. And I bet you Nick Saban will have his players ready to go out and put up a fight. And ultimately, they might just win the game. Because let's just put it like this. When Nick Saban is an underdog, Alabama might as well be the favorite to win the game. I know it doesn't really make sense, but you get the point. And the point is that Nick Saban is on a mission right now, and he's trying to get his team back on top. It's not going to be an easy game against Michigan, but we'll see what Nick Saban and Alabama can do moving forward. Because 2 more wins, and you will have 7 national championships at Alabama. Now, my second reason I think Alabama can win it all is because of their quarterback, Jaylen Milo. Jaylen Milo has to be one of the greatest freshman quarterbacks in college football in recent memory. The dude has shown a lot of improvement throughout the year. There was a time where we didn't even know if Alabama would even stand a chance at making the playoffs this year, and a lot of people said that Jaylen Milo was bad, and that's why they didn't beat Texas, and that Jaylen Milo isn't the quarterback for their team. And at that stage, I guess you could say Jaylen Milo wasn't that good yet. But in one of my first videos I ever made, don't go back and watch it by the way, it was pretty bad, but I did say that Jaylen Milo was the best option for Alabama, and he's not actually that bad. He just needs time to improve, but he's good, but he's just not elite yet. I don't know exactly what I said, but it was similar to that, and I was basically saying that I believed in the kid, and I don't even like Alabama, but here we are, at the end of the season, and Jaylen Milo is the guy, and he's really balling out. Maybe he's not elite yet, but he does his job well, and he still has a lot of time to develop. And Jaylen Milo is going to be a beast within the next couple years. He can throw the ball deep, and he's pretty accurate most of the time. I know he has some down plays, but he can also run the ball really well. And Jaylen Milo may have a career-defining moment in this year's playoffs. Everybody watch out for Jaylen Milo, because he's definitely an X factor in this year's playoffs. The third reason I think they can win the national championship is because of their defense. And I'm mainly talking about the defensive line they have. And although I wasn't super high on their defense, I thought it was good, I just didn't think it was elite. But when they played Georgia, they pushed their offensive line around and made them look like high school kids. And the battle up front between Michigan's offensive line and Blake Corum running the ball will be an interesting matchup with Alabama's front 7. Alabama always has a good defense. Nick Saban is a defensive-minded guy, and defense wins championships. And this Alabama defense will only keep getting better. There's no denying the talent on the defensive side for Alabama. And if you look back at all the great Alabama teams, they've all had great defenses. But this year, maybe the offense outshines the defense. But they are still good on both sides of the ball, and complete teams win national championships. The fourth reason I think they can win a natty is because all of the talent they have. I know I may just be listing random reasons now, but I say all the talent they have because they are loaded with guys who can make plays on offense and on the defensive side, and they are loaded with 5-star talent. I already talked about the talent Jaylen Milo has, and he's a pretty athletic quarterback too, but they have many good running backs, and Jaylen Milo just adds to the mix running the ball. But they have running backs like Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams, who have both ran for over 500 yards. They both have 5 or more touchdowns, while Jaylen Milo has 12 rushing touchdowns, which is a crazy stat line that I didn't even know about. The receiving talent is there too, which I will get to, because at my next reason, which is my 5th reason, I have the receiving room that Jaylen Milo has to throw to. You want to talk about the improvement this team has made throughout the year? Well, you can't talk about how much this team has improved without looking at the receivers. At the start of the year, it seemed Alabama didn't even have an elite receiver, and it seemed that they weren't going to have that number 1 receiver going into the year. But Jermaine Burton has been spectacular this year, and he has 8 touchdowns on the year, and he's definitely the number 1 go-to guy for Jaylen Milo, and his touchdowns double everybody else's on the team. But let's also not overlook guys like Isaiah Bond and tight end Amari Niblack. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but they've both been pretty solid, and both have 4 touchdown catches. This Alabama offense is just all around scary. And for my 6th reason I think they can win the Natty, it's because they have the most playoff experience out of all the 4 teams. Washington, Texas, and Michigan have all never made the national championship in the playoff era. And Alabama beat Washington years ago, the one time Washington actually made it. And Michigan has struggled to make it out the first round. So Alabama may be in their comfort zone, while these other teams are not in their comfort zone. And playing a team like Michigan that has struggled to win the big playoff games definitely gives Alabama a huge advantage. And Nick Saban and Alabama, they are no stranger to winning the big games. And you may say Texas already beat Alabama, but if Texas and Alabama play in the national championship rematch, which is very likely, I would have to go with Alabama. Because Nick Saban does not lose to the same team twice, and you can never pick against Nick Saban. Nick Saban might just be the best coach at making the adjustments that are needed to be made. And Alabama does not look like the same team they were when they played Texas earlier in the year. But lately, Texas has also been playing really good football, so that would be a spectacular game. But to get to the national championship, Alabama has to beat Michigan first. And I do believe they are the underdog in that game. And Michigan has been on a roll, and they are undefeated on the season, and they've been dominating teams. But this would not be the first time Nick Saban was an underdog, and you do not want to count Nick Saban out this year. And for my 7th and my last reason I think they can win a national championship, it's because this team is very motivated. After beating the number 1 team in the country, which nobody had done since 2021, which fun fact was actually done by Alabama in the 2021 SEC Championship, but after beating Georgia, this team has to be motivated, and you have to believe that they are full on confidence and that they have no doubt they can win the national championship when they have Nick Saban coaching them. This team continues to improve every week, and they are definitely on a mission, and there's no doubt that this team is motivated, and they might just be the most motivated team in the country. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, motivation isn't the only thing that matters. You have to be disciplined, and you have to execute when the games matter the most. So it's going to be an interesting playoff game. There's no doubt that Michigan is motivated after all the cheating scandals, and they want to silence the haters. There's no doubt about that. And Washington, they're definitely motivated because of how much fight they've gone through this year, and even after being the underdogs, they continue to win games and prove everybody wrong. There's also no doubt that Texas will be motivated, because right now, they might be playing their best football of the year, with back-to-back blowout wins, and they've had to overcome a lot of adversity throughout the year with all the injuries they've had. Look, I'm not a fan of a 4-team playoff. I really like that we're moving to a 12-team playoff era, but this last 4-team playoff will have the chance to be legendary, and ultimately, an Alabama national championship might just be the right end of an era, because going forward, the landscape of college football will change forever. But there's no doubt that Alabama has been the best team in recent memory, and arguably the best college football team of all time. But anyways, that is going to do it for the video. Let me know in the comments who you think will win the national championship, and let me know if you think Alabama has a legitimate shot. But also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications as well, so you never miss an upload, because we post daily college football videos. And I have a lot of videos planned for the month of December, including more videos on the teams in the playoff coming soon. So be sure to tune in for more daily videos. But that's going to do it, guys, and peace out.